He walked into Parliament thinking this would be another controlled diplomatic exchange. Carefully framed answers, carefully avoided questions, clean political optics. But within minutes, the entire China visit narrative started to crack open in real time. And what came next wasn't debate anymore. It was a full exposure attempt in front of the chamber. Watch what happens when the questions stop being polite and start getting specific.
Parliament. He excluded that from his statement. Why doesn't he tell us why he thought it was acceptable to meet with this man and what exactly he got out of it in the British India?
At the highest level and one-to-one, I raised each of the issues of difference between our two countries, each and every one of them in the way the House would have expected. And that is what they're criticising. They seem genuinely to believe, Mr. Speaker, that these issues can be progressed or influenced by doing nothing about it. You have to be in the room to have a discussion. That's what we did.
This wasn't just another routine exchange in Parliament. This was a direct political confrontation over Britain's entire approach to China, and it exposed a sharp divide in how both sides define engagement versus accountability. It started with a comparison that immediately set the tone. The MP pointed back to John Major's visit to Beijing, highlighting how he openly referenced the events of Tiananmen Square and took a firm public stance. Then came the contrast, the accusation that the current Prime Minister avoided even stating Jimmy Lei's name until the very end of his diplomatic trip. That single comparison framed the entire argument, one leader shown as direct and outspoken, the other portrayed as cautious, delayed, and politically calculated. From there, the criticism escalated quickly. The MP didn't just question tone or timing, they challenged the entire strategy of engagement with Beijing. They argued that what should have been responsible diplomacy was instead being turned into what they described as a propaganda visit. That phrase alone shifted the debate from policy disagreement into something far more serious. An accusation that Britain's engagement was being shaped, or at least influenced, in a way that softened accountability for the Chinese government. Then the pressure intensified further. The MP raised concerns about the broader implications of pausing or softening trade-related responses, suggesting that it appeared as though serious actions by the Chinese Communist Party were being politically downplayed. The argument being made was not subtle, that economic and diplomatic interests were being prioritized in a way that risked appearing like silence or inaction in the face of major international concerns. But the most sensitive moment came when the MP focused on a specific meeting involving the Prime Minister and a figure linked to allegations of intelligence activity targeting Parliament. That shifted the debate into highly charged territory. The central question was not just who was met, but why that meeting was not fully addressed in public statements and what tangible benefit it brought to the UK's national interest. At that point, the exchange stopped being abstract diplomacy and became a direct challenge over transparency, judgment, and political decision-making. And then the response came. The Prime Minister firmly rejected the framing of the accusations. He defended his approach, stating that he had raised all major issues directly with China at the highest level during face-to-face discussions. According to him, every key disagreement between the two countries was brought up openly, in the manner expected in Parliament. He pushed back against the criticism that engagement was being misrepresented, arguing instead that real diplomacy cannot happen from a distance. It requires being present, engaging directly, and confronting issues in the room rather than avoiding them altogether. That response created a clear divide in interpretation. On one side, the MP's argument suggested that engagement without strong public accountability risks appearing like silence or normalization. On the other side, the Prime Minister's position framed engagement itself as the only practical method of influence, insisting that absence or isolation would achieve nothing at all. Neither side gave ground. Neither side softened its position. What emerged instead was a full ideological clash, not just about one meeting, one statement, or one diplomatic trip, but about the entire philosophy of how a modern government should deal with a global power like China. And that is what makes this exchange significant. It wasn't simply political theater, it was a fundamental disagreement over strategy, whether influence comes from direct engagement despite controversy or from stronger public confrontation and clearer political distance. In the end, the chamber didn't see resolution. It saw a split vision of foreign policy laid bare in real time.